Another exciting week in the world of AI. Is AI stealing art styles? OpenAI teams up with Reddit and healthcare in AI. So let's dig in and jump in and talk about the news. Now, the first one I want to cover is this tweet from Nick St. Pierre, which says Midjourney CEO during the office hours said that they rendered out 100K styles from latent style space, style ref. And so what this means is that now there is a significant amount of new styles that they have to train their models on. And of course, this can go many different directions in the art world. Some people are going to be against it, some people are going to be for it, and the divide is huge. For example, some people might be saying that this gives potential for art to be created in a way that was never available before. And I could also see it that way. Because try to imagine if you're making Asian styled art from ancient China, but you take something modern like Star Wars and put the two together, and then now you have this Asian artwork mixed with some contemporary Star Wars stuff that would have never came to fruition if it wasn't for AI. And of course, I like to use AI to replicate old styles, and for me, I think that if AI isn't here, these styles would just die off because nobody is doing this art again and nobody is making it the same way that they used to. For example, back in the day in Vietnam, a lot of the street signs and advertisements were done by hand. Nowadays, you can just go and design it on your computer and print it out. And so, do I think this is good or bad that these AI models now have 100K new styles? Personally, I think this opens up the realm of creativity for somebody that is open-minded and is not using AI irresponsibly. Anyone that calls himself a creative, in my mind, should not be stealing someone's exact style. So probably Midjourney V7 would be a big update. And next up, we have Lifespan, which is a Rhode Island healthcare system that is teaming up with OpenAI. And personally, I think this is really helpful for medical literacy, because prior to AI to go out and find information on certain things about health, certain things about your body, how medicines interact with you, took many different steps. And now you could just type it in a sentence and for the most part, get all the information that you need. For example, the other week, I went to the local pharmacy and I asked them for the recommendation for the symptoms that I had, which was cold, flu-like symptoms at the time. So what they had was different from what I had in the US. So I had to look up the active ingredients and then put into ChatGPT, figure out how this active ingredient worked in my body, and then go back and reference the medicines I'm used to in the US, look at that active ingredient, and then see how that works in my body, and then see if both these medicines are similar enough that it's a safe thing to take. Being able to understand more about your anatomy, more about what's happening, and understanding what you're putting into your body, and using AI to potentially cross-reference research studies, peer-reviewed research studies, and credible sources is, in my opinion, I think going to be a good thing for the layman to understand more about their body and their medical needs. Next up, we have OpenAI pairing up with Reddit. Now, this is a very interesting one because whenever I try to find a solution to something, I actually go on Reddit because I find that on Reddit, it is a lot of peer contributed answers. Very much like how people go on Quora or back in the day, Yahoo Answers, if you're old enough to remember that. These answers, in a way, are less biased than reading random article on whatever you're trying to research. And the fact that this data is going to be accessible through a language model, personally, I think is going to open up to a lot of information being able to be accessed where previously it would not be able to be accessed. Now, there's also the ethical side of this, and some people are probably and understandably not happy that OpenAI is taking information from Reddit posts, because Reddit users kind of have this thought that their posts and what they were sharing was not going to be measured and taken and put into a language model or some AI model. And that's understandable because yes, people do deserve a right to privacy, and even though it's public, they had expected a bit of privacy on Reddit. Anyways, if you have an idea or a thought about this, leave it in the comments. Someone will respond to you and someone will share their thoughts. If it's something extremely polarizing, I'm sure someone's gonna write and you guys can chit chat about it. Now, the last one we're gonna talk about is Harvey teaming up with OpenAI. Harvey is an AI platform designed for people in the legal field. So what I found to be the big use case of this was that now lawyers and people they're interacting with can skip a lot of the whole legal jargon and a lot of the words and terms that are just filling up the whole page. And they're able to dissect a lot of this legal stuff into something that is more readable and comprehensible using Harvey. And for me, this gives me the impression that corporations and bigger companies are starting to adopt model where they're able to use AI to help their customers and clients understand what is happening. And at the same time, doing this helps their employees as well, because now their employees don't have to stay all night to look through a ton of old legal proceedings to find what precedents need to go where and how to come up with their argument. So I think this access to information is definitely going to be helpful. Now, I'm personally not in the law industry or the law field, so I don't know too much about it. But to me, the fact that companies can leverage this AI technology is going to bring so much more return in their output. Okay, so one more. Let's talk about Cornell's recent publishing on how conversational agents actually have limits to their empathy. And of course, to me, this is kind of obvious, but let's dive into it. Now, essentially, this study said that even though AI was able to respond in a way that seemed like it was empathetic and understanding of this certain person's dilemma, it's actually based on just data that it was trained to respond and not fully interpret what this person is saying. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think I can quantify every single thing that goes through my mind as I'm talking to my friends about issues and things that are going on. Of course, I can probably quantify a lot of things, but it's not going to be 100%. I think it's going to be the issue here, because if you want a AI to be fully empathetic, to be able to help this person to the best of the ability and be very therapeutical, it needs to have this understanding and a lot of these, let's say, vectors to send a proper answer. And us as humans can't even quantify ourselves, so I can see it being a challenge now. But I guess in the future, potentially as all of this develops, maybe there are these vectors and guidelines that are built out that are able to make this AI respond in a way that is empathetic and is able to guide humans or whoever's prompting their dilemma through to a solution that is working and happy for everybody. That's all for the news this time. If you enjoyed this video, give me a like, subscribe, and if you want to be career ready in the creative world, check out my course. It's all linked below, and I'll see you in the next video.